This is Storytellers and Storysellers live on tape. You're listening to Vineet Kanabar on the IVM Podcast Network. Today, we're doing a very special Women's Day episode with two very special women from the internet. On our conversation today, we'll take stock of where the gender conversation is at the beginning of the third decade of the 21st century. Man, that makes me feel old, right? We'll talk to Shireen and Nidhi, who are joining us for this episode, about their experiences being influencers and public personalities in this world, about their take on where we are in that gender conversation I just talked about, and some weird and funny things that have happened to them in their experience as women. Shireen, Nidhi, welcome to the show. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Vineet. I'm so excited to be here. And this is my first podcast. I'm nervous, but I'm super excited.
Oh, it's awesome. Shouldn't be nervous. It's just a conversation. And I'm so glad to be able to break another podcast. Glad to have you here. How are you doing, Nidhi?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited and looking forward to.
Lovely. Now that we have pleasantries out the way, tell us about how your year has been, yeah, guys. I mean, before we jump into Women's Day and how that experience is, how's the year been? How's everything? What's been cooking?
Are we talking about 2020 or 2021?
I'd say 2021. Let's not talk about 2020 anymore. Like, I've banished it from my memory. I'm never going to open that box again, unless you watch WandaVision, in which you should open all boxes. But that's it. No spoilers there. Coming back, 2021.
2021 has been exciting for me personally and professionally. Yeah, I'm just hoping that we never go back and say something or even a glimpse of what happened in 2020 again. So hoping for better days to come and some normalcy.
Yeah, some normalcy for sure. I think any more of staying home, and I will start believing this is normal. But we'll hold that at bay for a bit. Shireen, how's the year looking for you? We're in March already.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest. Staying home for me was not that big of a deal. I'm quite an introvert that way, so I'm okay. I'm one of those ones who people are like, okay, you're quite comfortable doing this. This is your scene. And also I've been, I do work from home, so it wasn't that bad for me. I actually like 2021. I like the fact that we have sort of normalized more digital interactions. Like I'm
I
liking
love
the
that.
fact
Yeah.
that you know what I'm saying. Like I like the fact that events are happening on Zoom, that my workout is happening on Zoom. Like there's just things that we can do. There's so many more things that we can do just because of this whole like digital sort of interaction. So yeah, I kind of like it. I'm enjoying, and also travel has opened up. So yay to that.
Travel has indeed opened up. Yeah, I think that's been a bit of a relief for people, right?
Yeah.
I really have gotten used to being at home that way, but it is getting to my mind a little bit, and I hope we have a full recovery very, very soon. Tell me this, guys. I mean, I've had a few Instagram popular celebrities on the show before, and it's something that I always ask them, right? And I'd love for you to crunch your journeys into nutshells for us, but do it nonetheless, and tell us how it started for you guys, right? Like, Shireen, I know so many real people. I mean, my friends who are fans of the work that you do. That I mean, and it's nice to hear people be like, oh, hey, she's the one that I really follow, right? And I've heard that a lot about you. How did your journey start out?
Oh my God, thank you so much, first of all, to starting with you. What a great way to start this question. No, honestly. So I mean, in a nutshell, if I put it, I never started my blog and I never started Instagramming with the idea that it will ever turn out to be a career. Never thought that. Did not think that I'd be making money out of this. It was just for the love of fashion. I come from a fashion and styling background, and I wanted to kind of be a stylist initially. But I mean, this talking about fashion first it was on my website. I started off on the website, and then when Instagram came, I started promoting my website on Instagram. But
Right.
what happened when I noticed this turn was when I started to post my face and me on Instagram instead of just posting like models pictures or photography. That's when I started realizing that people are now engaging with me, people are now talking to me, and they want to know more. So that kind of pushed me to create more and more personal content and have me sort of talk about my reviews and my opinions and my fashion choices instead of just posting other people's pictures. And I think that led to a kind of a line of career where I started working and associating with brands, and I'm so lucky to have worked with some fabulous brands and have a great team that of photographers and makeup artists that helps me create some amazing content. Yeah, so that's kind of in a nutshell what it is.
No, it's a beautiful nutshell, but I'm going to double click on that for a second. I think something that's common between all successful influencers is that their journey starts out as a passion project and ends up in a business empire. Where are you on that spectrum right now?
I mean, now it's a career. Now it's a full blown. It's a
Beautiful.
full time. Okay, I'm going to be honest. It is full time. I cannot, even if I want to do something else now, I can't. One, because I'm hooked. I'm addicted, and I love it. Like, I honestly love the fact that I can. Like I mentioned before, I'm an introvert, right? So for me, having to create content and having to express myself from the comfort of my own space, whether it's a studio or whether it's my home, and expressing it and sharing it with people, it gives me so much fulfillment. Like
That's lovely. That's so lovely to hear.
and that kind of fulfillment I don't even get when I go out and meet people and like at parties and all. That's not my scene. But like expressing on social media, expressing on Instagram, it makes me feel amazing. And
I mean, I relate. Go on.
the fact that I could turn that into a career, like it doesn't feel like work. Like I just hope it continues. Like this vibe and this feeling should continue.
No, that's lovely. What I was going to say was I relate so much in that sentence where you said this is better than going to parties and meeting people, except for the part where I still don't post too much on Instagram. But it's so nice to hear, man. It's great to hear that in this whole world where we're always talking about social media negativity, there is this the true core benefit of expression, right? It puts you out there, connects you to like-minded people, helps you create communities. Who knew you could have 500,000 followers, right? And who knew that could springboard so many beautiful careers. Over to you, Nidhi. How did your journey start?
So I think I've been a veteran on the app. So I would say it was 2013 or 14. I don't remember really. But at the time, I couldn't explore or couldn't understand what Instagram really meant. So all thanks to another creator, Angel Bedi, and I always say that. She was known as the filmy owl at the time. She was very popular and she was a creator. And she said, she was working out in the same gym as I was. I was a trainer and I was in the fitness industry already. So it wasn't like I was creating myself in that space. I was already somebody who was established there, but I did not know anything about, posting stuff online. So she was the one who insisted first that, why don't you start posting? And then she was like, okay, make a promise to me that you'll post one picture every 3 days. And that's it. I mean, it's literally started with promising another creator that I'll post a picture. And then she was the one who was always giving me shout outs and saying everyone that, there are desi girls who kind of do fitness training and they have muscles and,
Right.
instead of following everyone online, who's not an Indian, just see there are girls. So yeah, I think that's where it kind of started. And of course, like Shireen said, in the beginning, I never thought it could be a part of my career, or it could be something that I will monetize, in the coming years, or it'll become a community. I mean, I didn't have that vision at the time. At the time, it was just like, as I said, one post at a time. And I was kind of enjoying that creativity and that space because I was handling marketing for my own company, but it was not the same thing. The moment I put out my face, it had a different kind of an impact, and
Right.
people associate with the face rather than a brand.
Absolutely.
So I think that's where it started for me. And I would say now, since 20, we don't want to talk about 2020, but I will just like throw in a mention there. So when 2020 happened and my physical clinics had to shut down,
Right.
and I couldn't operate for like 6 months, it was amazing that I had an online community where I was doing stuff anyways online, which I could sell and monetize and actually support all my staff in the clinics who were not working at the time. So I mean, I would say I did not think it will be the proportion that it is right now, and I think none of us had that vision. And of course, the part about working with brands, the first time a brand came up to me and they said, we'll give you a smartwatch to review and we'll pay you. And I was like, hang on a second, you're going to give me a smartwatch and you're going to pay me for it? What does this even mean?
I'm the marketing guy. I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm not supposed to be getting this.
I'm like, how is this happening? But yeah, I mean, that was, I don't know, probably 5 years ago. And, now
Right.
for me also, social media is one big chunk of money that I earn. It kind of supports
Right.
the business I already had. And it gave me so many opportunities to work across the world, which I doubt I would have unless I was on social media, uh, especially
It's
Instagram.
brilliant.
That's because it was the easiest platform and the most convenient platform at the time.
That's it's beautiful, man. I think a few years ago, a friend of mine and I were talking about what does it mean to build a business plan for an influencer, right? And the simplest way that we could put it was, I'm going to post great pictures of myself till the time people pay me to post great pictures of myself, right? And I think it sounds so simple, but it's so hard to do, right? And when you said, Nidhi, hey, I just promised a creator I'll post one picture every 3 days, and look where it got you. You're really selling it short, because to post that one picture every 3 days, you need to have mehnat or lagan in whatever it is that you're doing, right? Whether it's makeup for Shireen, or fitness for you, or comedy for Tanmay, or whoever it is, right? I think that's the part where I would say you're selling yourself a little bit short. But kudos to you guys, man. I think and this is where I go into a long-winded question, but you both mentioned this part, and I want to double click on that and ask you about it. Is it's well and good to be, a subject matter expert, right? I really know makeup products better than other people. They take my recommendations seriously. I have credibility. Or I'm a trainer, they take my recommendation seriously, etc., etc. From there, to make a transition to being the celebrity yourself, right? I think both of you mentioned the inflection point of putting your face out there. I want you both to go back and think about what went on through your mind when that was happening, right? Maybe the 2 month or 3 month transition period where you saw this sort of growth take up. What were you thinking? What were your considerations in mind? And here's where I'm kind of coming from, right? This is still India. I know we're in the 21st century, and I know it's the age of Instagram and everything, but we still have people who have 100 opinions about what women can and cannot do, right? We don't like it, but it's still there. And after a while, it's taxing also to negotiate those, right? But again, to wind up my question, what is going on through your mind when you realize that, hey, I need to put my face out there, and that's how my growth will really happen? What were the considerations? What was your thought process?
So for me, I think it was, when I started, like maybe when I put up one post and then I realized the questions and the engagement that was coming in, or just that time I didn't even know the word engagement. The questions that were coming in and the concerns that were coming in, I just realized that people, I want people to trust me, and I think people are looking for somebody to trust, like opinions that they can trust. And believe, because they're coming from somebody. So even in, like, initially when I was not doing too many sponsored posts and everything, at that time it was all organic content, and I was genuinely talking about products that I love, about brands that I love, and it was coming from a very real, genuine place. Even right now, like I don't want to get into the guidelines and everything, but like, the space is working in a way where we want to create a more transparent relationship between creators and their followers.
Right.
They know what is a sponsored post and they know what is organic, which I think is great. Like, I'm somebody who's all for it, because I want that trust to sort of come back. I feel like maybe somewhere along the line people might have lost that, because suddenly there was this burst of like sponsored and sponsored content.
Right.
But now I think, with this transparency coming in, we'll sort of get that trust out again. And I just think it's really nice for like people see ads, they see models with clothes, and they see models with, with makeup on their faces. But when you see a real girl, like that was my bio at one point, right? Like, I'm 5'2", I am size medium, I'm not from a acting model background, nothing, like, but I'm just a girl who likes fashion and likes makeup, and this is my opinion on it. Now you make a decision whether you want to get the product or not, what you think about it.
Right. Completely authentic.
Yeah, I think what Shireen said kind of resonates with me as well. I think the only reason why social media influencers became social media influencers is the fact that there was this huge factor of relatability. So you're not looking at somebody who's like, oh, so magazine perfect, and then they would follow them. They were actually looking at real people. But as you said about, that transition period of understanding that I'm putting myself out there, I see that change coming in, because in, say, till even 2016, 17, to have a public account was a thing.
Right.
You would have a conversation with your friends and family, would say, oh my God, your Instagram is public. It used to be a thing because influencer was not a word, but
Right.
here we go. Couple of years down the line, it's a proper career. People know it, and you're like an influencer. And I think the real impact of I can clearly say that I think 2015 or 16, I was spending too much time on my phone. And there was a time when even my family said that you need to reduce, the amount of time you're wasting on social media. And now it is that my dad is a pro in clicking pictures. And if I have a campaign, I go to my dad and I'm like, Dad, you need to click pictures. He does. So I think I've seen that sea change come in even their mentality, on how accepting they are of me putting myself out there, including when I'm traveling, whom I'm with, what I'm doing, because we don't realize as much, but there's a lot of our personal life that we put out there. And we always look at, couple of 100,000 or couple of thousand people checking our content as, oh, they saw it. They didn't see it. They actually consumed it and they know
Right.
where you are, what you're doing. But I think there's been a transition in terms of how open-minded everyone has become, how
Right.
accepting everyone has become. For me personally, in my genre, in my space, especially fitness, when I would, and I'm not talking about, some uh, city where people will be narrow-minded. I'm talking about South Delhi specifically, where people are
Sure.
supposedly the most open-minded and most modern,
Progressive. Yeah, of course.
progressive,
Mhm.
very, chic, and I'd say Gucci and Prada. That's what they talk. I was going to the very elite high-end gym in like 2014 or 15. And I would probably be the only one in the weight section, always having, these ego fights with men to pick up weights, because there was this culture that was there that women are not supposed to be in the weight section, they belong to the
Right.
cardio.
Right.
Cut to 2021, you would see every girl in weight section. It's normal. Just scroll your Instagram and see how many women who have kids. Today somebody tagged me, who was 60-year-old and she was doing weight training. So
Right.
that is the power of, social media. And I'd say that is the power we put out, because if you were one of the first creators who were brave enough to like kind of listen to everyone, even your family, and put yourself out there. And now look at the whole world, we've normalized it. So I mean, I feel so good when I go to gyms these days, because even 5 years ago, I would probably be the only one in the weight section, like fighting. And now it's
Right.
completely normal to do that. Now, probably the last gym I was going to was not even that high end. It was like kind of the mid budget sort of a gym. And
Mhm.
I could work out in my sports bra and nobody would even question or look at me. They would be completely fine with a girl working out the way she wants to. Nobody would come to me with suggestions or I should or should not do. I feel that there's so much beauty in that. And I've seen that change come through years. And I'm getting goosebumps as I say this. But I think I'm sure Shireen would have a similar experience when it comes to fashion as well. The
Absolutely.
overall acceptance that people have had. And I think all thanks to social media, because there
I,
is so
I
much
couldn't agree more.
exposure. Yeah,
Absolutely.
the exposure has been good. We've been
No,
exposed to
totally.
things, awareness has been more, and there's so much acceptance in the society for things which were considered a taboo like a couple of years ago.
And
I mean,
I'd say not just more, sorry, not just more, but once every 3 days. I think that's the most important piece, right? You see this, you might see it happen on TV, right? For example, you see Karnam Malleshwari was bronze medalist at, what was that? The 2002 Olympics? I'm going to be wrong about this, but or 2000 Olympics. So we've had women in fitness. It's not like we don't have a public memory of women in fitness, but what's important is to be exposed to that from a relatable person and to be exposed to that consistently and every day, and that's what normalizes conversations. I love the way you put it, and to be honest, I had a bit of goosebumps myself. um, what about you, Shireen? I mean, I know you talked about this very, very briefly,
Yeah.
about just being a normal, regular person interested in makeup, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll actually open this up to the both of you. Do you feel like trailblazers? Do you feel like people who, even if it's in the smallest amount, do you feel like people who've made a difference? How does that feel?
So I'll tell you, when it comes to fashion, okay, something that I have noticed, when I literally initially started blogging, and people obviously didn't recognize what it could turn out to be, and it was still like a hobby or something,
Mhm.
you could transition into, ki, acha, you have a following, but you can actually grow and do this, and you publication, start a production house and do this and that. So people used to call me for events and, for like these corporate events where they want me to talk about, this is an example I'm giving you, okay? Talk
Okay.
about dressing for different body types. And then even 5 years ago, I had the same thing to tell them, and I'm so glad that things have also changed now. Was that I do not believe in dressing for different body types. Like, I don't get this. I don't get it. I feel like wear what makes you feel comfortable. And I know I'm sounding very like fluffy when I'm saying this, but wear what makes you feel comfortable. If you feel great in it, no one's going to question you. No one's going to
Right.
tell you how to change it, or even if they do, if you're feeling great, it's not going to matter to you, right? So, when I remember posting pictures of myself in shorts, in swimsuits, and I would get comments like, thunder thighs, or like, should you be wearing shorts and should you not? And I chose to not give a crap at that time. It did affect me. I'm not going to say, everything, these things do sort of, they connect with you somewhere, but you have to
Mhm,
just,
mhm.
you have to think what you stand for at that point and what you want to put out there and what you want to tell your followers. And I left those comments there. Sometimes I didn't even delete them, and I replied to some of them even. I'm okay. I love my like I love my thighs. I'm going to tell you that I love my thighs. I want to wear shorts, and I think anybody can. Like, I don't think we need to think before picking up a pair of shorts and thinking, will it suit me? Will it not? Like, wear it if you want to wear it. If you're in Goa and all, you're not going to wear jeans on the beach. Yeah, just wear whatever you want to wear. So I feel like that is something that has changed on social media. I feel like women are definitely more confident and more, they're just more comfortable sort of expressing themselves through fashion
Mhm.
and through makeup. And not just women. There's, people across all genders who are expressing themselves with saris, with makeup, with, with hair colors. And I think that's amazing. Like what Nidhi said, there's just such a sense of inclusivity and acceptance that's there right now, whether it's fitness or fashion or makeup or anything.
That's wonderful to hear you say that. I think the daily exposure, the normalization is really helped. I'm sure that there's a lot of work to do, right? I mean, nowhere are we saying that we've reached utopia and now we've solved sexism. I don't think anybody's saying that, but I think there has been progress, right? In light of that, though, when we're doing this for Women's Day, right? What does Women's Day now mean to you as women, as women in the public domain that other women look up to as well? What does Women's Day mean to you? Given that we're somewhere in the middle of our journey to sort of more parity, more equality, what does it mean to you?
So I think, first of all, saying and celebrating the fact that you said that we are somewhere in the middle means we are on the way, we are on the right path. Okay, we are making progress somewhere. We are not there yet, like you said, we're not there at all, but we are getting there, and the conversations are happening, and the
Mhm.
voices are being heard. And I just think we need to, for me, Women's Day is about celebrating women, whether it's a housewife, whether it's a mother, whether it's a woman in tech, in sports, in fashion. Celebrate, celebrate, uplift, sort of inspire, encourage, uh, yeah, just across anything, like even caregivers. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I was watching, I don't know if I should bring this up, but I was watching an interview of a very famous celebrity, and the way she was, if anyone saw it, this came out on Instagram like a few days ago, and the way she
It's
was,
okay. We can name them. I'm never going to have her on anyway.
no, she's international. Yeah,
Even more so.
it was a
I'm
Paris
joking.
Hilton. It was a Paris Hilton, and she was on
Oh,
a
I might have Paris Hilton now.
but the way she was talking about her work, and she was talking about how many companies she's handling, and whatever it is, or the fact that she's been working as a model since she was 15, and the way that was taken, this was obviously many years ago, the fact that, oh, acha, model na, like model is
Hmm,
what,
hmm.
celebrate a woman being a model, because even that is hard work. I know as creators, Nidhi, even you must have faced this, like where a lot of, like back in the day, people would be like, acha, taking photos of yourself is not very hard work, right? But it is, it's a beautiful process of, idea to conceptualization. So yeah, I mean, I'm deviating from the point now, but yeah, celebrate women across all fields.
Beautiful. Maybe?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be a little cheesy here and say, barring all the marketing and advertising. Uh,
Oh, I'm coming to that, by the way.
yeah, barring all the marketing and advertising, I think as I think we are celebrating diversity now, and that's what I really like, because these things, just the fact that you're celebrating Women's Day, we would again always see a celebrity, somebody who's already been there, done that, and is already looked up to. And now the role models, so to speak, who come forward and talk and engage in activities are people who are, I can relate to. They come from every age, they come from every kind of background. So definitely I see there's a sea change. And when you say about we've reached somewhere in the middle, I think with any kind of improvement and any kind of journey, whether it's what's happening around us, through your own personal journey or fitness or even your mental health, I think only when you arrive at certain destination that you realize there's so much more to go. But
Right.
that doesn't mean we don't look back and see how far we've come. And I think we've come really far. And what I also like about social media as a platform is that this is one of the only places on earth where there is no disparity in terms of pay scale on your gender. In fact, if I'm not wrong, I think female
Women are
creators
paid better,
finally get paid more than male
for
creators.
sure. Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that it's bad, but I think these things they were such a norm. So I've come from a typical MNC industry background as well, where it's such a norm that on the same qualification, same experience, same pay scale, you have a woman would always be paid far less, and they give a legit excuse that he has to take care of the family. But here we have a platform where we are paid absolutely equal. So of course there's so much more to be done, but we have to acknowledge the fact that we've really come far. And I think in terms of empowering women, I think we are in the right direction. So I think that's, for me, that's enough. And I think I'm incredibly, you can say I always view the world from my rose colored sunglasses. I am that person. So I like to see the positive side of things. And I definitely feel a sea change coming. And I think it came very quickly as an avalanche. And every day when I'm scrolling through my feed these days, I see more and more diversity, more and more acceptance about body types, about uh, what we do, what jobs are supposed to be for a gender, women driving, women can't drive, women riders, women vlogger riders. So there's so much that has become such a norm for us that wasn't before. So I think, yeah, and I think we might need a week to celebrate women. I think the day might not be enough anymore.
I
I
agree.
think that's an idea that we should take up and discuss more seriously. I love the way you guys approach it, right? I think the one thing that I would add, if I may, is that because of the success or relative success that women have had in educating the world to be a more sort of gender equal place and doing the heavy lifting, a lot of that has extended to other marginalized and minority communities as well. So I feel like more and more Women's Day itself has become a festival of inclusivity that reaches beyond just the biological, and I think that is another very, very heartening development, at least for someone who's an observer and an ally. That feels like something that will again be a bigger part of Women's Day going forward. Nidhi, you talked about this very briefly, and it makes me laugh because this is what I do in my day job. But what do you make of brands on Women's Day? I mean, I'm going to start this. Sorry, I'm going to start this with an example. Did you guys see the Deepika Padukone Levi side?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I think
did.
I did, but what about it?
No, I'm just saying. You guys saw that, right? Cool. What do you guys think of brands on Women's Day? Okay, so let me qualify this a little bit, right? I mean, it's every year, right? Women's Day and Mother's Day is every year is a subfest. Okay, and I'm not saying it's not important. It's important, right? We celebrate women, all of that. But what do you think of the way we seem to do it, or brands seem to do it, about pretty much saying nothing while saying something sort of space, right? Again, I'm just giving you a very sort of jaded picture because I really do. I've been doing this for longer than I care to remember, and every year it's the same brief, right? We want to stand for empowerment and rarely do you see people walking the talk. Again, that's just me, right? I wish brands did more. But what do you feel? And again, you have a completely different take on this because, hey, you're women, and B, I'm sure you also collaborate with a fair amount of brands to create these things on Women's Day. What's that experience been like?
Do you want to go first? Because I
No,
might.
this time we'll go first with Nidhi this time. I think Shireen's done the number one spot many times.
I agree.
Okay, so I think what I feel about it, I think Srishti did a very nice impression video a couple of days ago that kind of even went viral among the influencer circle, where she's pretending to be this PR person who's calling up and telling what they want. So it's, I mean, seriously, I don't want to demean anyone, but it feels like everyone just recorded the same thing. They sound the same. They say the same things to you. And it's like, so we're doing this event and Women's Day. So we really want you to come over and talk about, your journey. And they haven't even researched who you are. So typically they don't. So I sometimes feel that it's in that rush to go onto the bandwagon of, oh, we're doing something for women empowerment. Sometimes I think the meaning is lost, and it just becomes an activity that you have to do on Women's Day. And I'm sure Shireen would agree that everyone, I think all women creators, have their calendars blocked, like really blocked till the. And I've told everyone, I said, I will talk about it. We'll talk after 8th because I have so much lined up. And I'm not saying that all of those things don't really make sense, but I think sometimes it's overwhelming even for somebody as a consumer. So if I don't put myself in the shoes of a creator and I put myself in the shoes of a consumer who's consuming content, I think on that one single day, everyone giving me the same inspirational story, sometimes we got to draw a line. That's why I said we need a week, not a day, because it's too much.
We do. Someone needs to take that up. Hey, Instagram, if you're listening, can we turn this into a week, please? I'm joking. Shireen, what about you? What do you think?
So yeah, I mean, like Nidhi said, I am currently collaborating with a lot of brands to create some Women's Day content. Not complaining there. But I mean, so I'll tell you what, like Valentine's Day also just came, right? And there was a similar sort of this thick flow of campaigns that brands sort of wanted to do.
Pink and red everywhere. Has to be.
That was one of the points of the brief. I will say that. But I mean, so what I liked this time was, and I don't know if it was done last year, I don't remember, but this year was the fact that a lot of campaigns ran around the fact that Valentine's Day is not just about celebrating love between a man and a woman, but it's also celebrating love between you and your pet, or you and your sister, or brother and brother, or friend, or mother, or whatever. So that was kind of nice to just sort of throw light on the fact that there's so many different types of love, and we need to sort of move away from the idea of a man giving chocolates to a girl and doing that kind of stuff. So that was nice that in a subtler way, even if the brand just did it from a campaign point of view, I think it just threw light on that really nice topic, and people just thought about it, the different types of love. So I think when it comes to Women's Day also, if there's a little more sort of thought and direction that's put into a campaign, even if it touches a few people, that's good only. I think it's fine. It's fair. Like to a lot of us, there's very different kind of people. To some people, content that's given to you on a plate, straight up, really commercial, really easy to understand is what they'll understand. Some people need slightly deeper and slightly more, something done in a little more abstract way, or something a little more intense, or something a little more challenging. So I think there's so many people on the internet, and there's so many different types of people. And I think brands also kind of want to make sure that they're reaching, as many people as they can. So, I mean, I'm not, I have a very neutral view on it. I feel like jitne logo, like it makes, if it connects with some people also great, but yeah, I mean, we can definitely.
Let me simplify this question. I don't want to put, like I said, I don't want to put you guys on a spot. I know you guys have deals in place, etc. Let me simplify this question for you, right? Brand comes with you with a generic Women's Day brief. What do you tell them? What do you tell them? Yeah.
Well, I definitely, so if a brand comes to me, so this is not only for Women's Day, but for any campaign that there is, I put out my own brief forward and I'm like, let's come together and find a middle ground on how I can communicate this, because there needs to be some communication. I'm not just going to post a picture or post a creative that you have given me. That's never going to happen. It has to be my voice, talking about the campaign. So that has to happen. And I think any good creator, any honest creator would do that. So if a campaign has come, you turn it into your own voice, because you know your followers, right? You've grown up with your followers, you can understand your followers. So you put your own voice to it, you put your own brief to it. And a lot of times brands are okay with it. Like sometimes they're not, turn them down if they're not okay with those campaigns. But I think it's really important to give that brief a read and not just do it blindly, and put in your own ideas to it.
That's actually quite reasonable. Yeah, definitely something that should be done. Let me ask you this, right? And just to close out this section on brands, what would you say? And again, we'd love to hear from your experiences. You don't have to name the brands if you're not comfortable, but what were some really fabulous experiences working with brands for you guys? It doesn't have to be a Women's Day campaign, but just where you're like, hey, I got to learn something working with this brand as well, and I'm going to use that in other places also.
Oh, for me, it was, I'm going to go first. Sorry, because I have a
Did you also sit on the first bench in school?
No, I don't know. I'm not that person. But I mean, like, imagine, like, I'm just not. I was that quiet, like, girl in class. Okay, like, teachers say, like, having my own opinions, writing them down. Like, one day somebody will listen to me. But,
and here we are.
Yeah. So, okay. So one of my favorite experiences with the brand was with a beauty brand, where then this was quite early on in my career, so it was super exciting for me, where a brand took me from, like, I was the only representative influencer from India to an international destination where there were creators from all over the world, right? And there were from, like, literally, like, everywhere, from England, from America, from Africa, from China, from, like, everywhere. Not China, sorry. There were, like, other, like, Eastern countries, but I just, seeing other people from different parts of the world create content and the way they communicated with their followers, it was amazing to see. Like, it was so eye-opening. I learned so much. That was one of my fab, like, experience. And there have actually been quite a few like that. I love it when brands curate experiences, like, more than, just telling us to sort of sell a product or, like, talk about a product, when they give us an experience that through our eyes, and then we can give our followers the same experience about the product or about the brand or about the brand values. That's so much nicer when you have a story to sort of tell.
Absolutely. How about you, Nidhi?
Yeah, I think the same. So I have made a niche over years. I'm vegan. I promote sustainability and all that. So now the team and the brands and also the PR agencies who work for the brands kind of know what will work and what will not work for me. And I'm very critical with what I choose to promote because there are so many things that don't resonate with me. And if it doesn't resonate with me personally, it's highly unlikely that I would do it. So I'm very clear on things like it has to be cruelty-free, vegan, no supplements, because that's a very easy thing for a trainer especially to sell. But yeah, as Shireen shared, there have been amazing experiences. Like I have been exclusive with Puma for the last 5 years. This is the longest association they have had with any individual. The
Wow,
whole
that's insane.
team has changed in front of me. The marketing team has changed. People who were handling me are probably the top of the team right now. Everything has changed around, but Nidhi is where she was. Not exactly. I mean, I started off as an influencer, just did one campaign with them. Then they took me on board as a trainer. I shot an international app with them. Again, only 2 people from India were there on the app, the other one being Virat Kohli. Just, like, so they also gave me that platform. Then I was one of the people who was always doing all the marathons which were happening in India. So I think it's been a very long association, and I have complete freedom in terms of what I choose and how creatively I want to project something. They involve me in pre-launches of products. So it's not just the product has come, just shoot it and send it, or just write this. It's not that anymore. The relationship is much more deeper. I've started creating, even very specific content related to fitness, which kind of impacts how you choose a product, say how you choose shoes. Things, probably should come from a trainer, but, the brand doesn't know it, or the person who's selling it doesn't know it. So it kind of creates a chain of information which should flow in the direction so that a consumer is making a better choice. So for me, the journey has been extremely exciting. I kind of enjoy that part where, the brand involves me in not just, hey, this is the product, sell it like this. In, how are you feeling about it, and what's, and there are other brands also, some of them I can't name because it's not like an open collaboration, but I mean, on the tech side, there are so many brands that now I give my feedback to. And this is and this is not just, just because you're putting it out on social media. They're actually asking me to test it out and, give a genuine feedback. So I feel sometimes I can so connected to the products, and if there is a negative feedback, they're more than willing to accept it. So
Right, right. Great. I think what I'm hearing from you, Nidhi, is get us involved not just as a media channel, get us involved as creators, as people who know audiences. Obviously, it helps that, Nidhi, you speak a marketer's language clearly, but get us involved well and truly early. And from you, Shireen, what we're hearing is give us a story that we can amplify. Don't just use us as a billboard where you put up product and price and where to buy it, but give us a story that we can take and create further, and that story then gets amplified. I think both of those are priceless learnings. I mean, in my experience, doing this as well, I have tried a million times to get brands to go in early with an influencer, right? Don't The way I like to put it is, I've been doing this since digital was the last slide of the presentation and content was the last quadrant of that slide, right? So it's just this much. और उसमें कहीं पे एक line influencer हुआ करता था. And that mindset still seems to prevail, right? Where, oh, okay, we've booked our TV monies, now we've booked our print money, and I've spent all my money on that other red platform that they're not going to let me speak about on this one, and then we'll come to influencers, right? Just a little bit. But I think that mindset really needs to change for us to see better results coming out of collaborations between creators and brands. Taking a hard left turn from brands and influencers, let's talk about politics. No, I'm joking. Let's talk about role models, right? I think it's very important, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier as well. Every day when you see women pushing boundaries and owning it, right? Not just pushing boundaries and then forgetting about it and telling a story to their friends, but owning it out there, right? Creates newer, better role models, right? And now what we've been seeing is last few years, there's a slew of political, social, entertainment based role models around the world, right? Where do you see yourselves in that sort of situation? Do you see yourselves, A, as role models, and B, where do we need to be as Indian society, or as urban Indian society, maybe? What do we seek from our female role models? I said it was a hard left turn, wasn't it?
Let Nidhi go on that.
I'll give you a moment to think about it. Yeah, Nidhi.
I definitely see that, even if it might be like this much, when I'm saying it might be like a tiny, minuscule contribution that I might have to somebody else's life, I think it might be there. Okay. Actually, it is there. Okay. Let me just acknowledge myself out there and say, yeah, I think there would be somebody, because I know there are some people who have been following and interacting with me over years. So I know that there are a lot of people who have had this tiny bit of inspiration, so to speak, coming in every day from probably what I do or put out there. Just giving you an example, like living alone all by myself, being comfortable with what age I am, how I take care of myself, or living alone. I have gotten so many DMs from girls who are like, how do you stay alone? It's so surprising that you take care of yourself and everything else in a business alone. And there's so many girls who ask me for tips and tricks also, like, how to do that. So I think somewhere there is some contribution that we also do when we put ourselves out there. But talking about role models, I definitely feel, I genuinely, and I'm not saying that because I have to be nice to somebody, but I'm just genuinely saying that I am inspired to look at women every single day. And I'm not just talking about just the aspect of fitness. I'm inspired. So the other day, I don't know the creator's name, but I'm just saying that the other day I saw somebody completely gray hair, and she was a wonderful makeup artist. And she was not doing the typical, makeup that you expect somebody of that age to do. Again, a norm that we think is a norm. But she was doing these amazing colors on her eyes and it looked nice. To me, I don't know that creator. Probably I don't even follow her and just popped up on my feed, but I am inspired and she's my role model. How I can be comfortable. And it just gave me so much power. I'm like, okay, Nidhi, just 37 right now. You're gonna rock at 57 too. Look at her. So,
Of course you are.
yeah, so these things, I think, at a subconscious level, when you're consuming somebody else's content and you see them doing what they're doing, being comfortable with what they're doing, being good at what they're doing, and not really following the, so to speak, norm. I think every one of those people is a role model in their own space. And when we put ourselves out there, and it might be a tiny, again, I said it's a minuscule thing for me to put out, but I
Right.
don't, that might be the message that somebody was seeking at the time that they got it. And you might not even know you changed somebody's life or perception. Or and there's so many times, I put out a post and people write, oh, this is exactly what I was wanting to hear today. So, you really don't have to be somebody who's got like millions of followers, or,
Yes.
a big celebrity or whatever. You don't have to be. You could be somebody who has a follower or no followers, but you have a piece of content or a piece of information or a message that you're putting out, and you have no idea whom you're inspiring. So when it comes to, I think, role models, I see so many every single day that it's it's amazing how they're normalizing us, and it's all happening deep in our subconscious. And I believe, and I think you would agree to that as well. I think I've become so less judgmental about things I would have been 10 years ago, because there's so many things that
Definitely.
were a taboo for me a couple of years ago, and I'm completely normal about it, in person, digitally, online, everywhere. And I think whoever had put out that thing or put themselves out there at the time, they were role models. So yeah,
That's
I mean,
very well put. Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. It's you don't have to be someone who's out there to be a role model. You could be someone who just does what they're doing well and be considered role models. What do you think, Shiv? How about
How do I
being a role
talk?
model to people?
How do I
Yeah,
talk?
it's
This is the
hard,
answer.
no?
Yeah, like how do I go back and say my Masi from like 15 years ago who taught me how to dress, like that's my role model? Like, no, that sounds so shallow right now. No, but I think
No,
I
no, of
was
course
like,
not.
yeah, I was like listening to Nidhi like with all ears open. I think what you said was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and I couldn't like agree more with what you said, because I have been asked this question before about who's your role model, and I've never really had a specific answer. Being a creative person, I am inspired every day with something different and something new, whether it's a musician or an actress or another fellow creator who's done something amazing or said something amazing or powerful. So I'm always like shifting from like one person to the other, and my inspirations are always changing. So I don't have like one particular role model. But I mean, like my explore feed, I can say my explore feed right now is my inspiration for everything.
But
um,
that's the recommendation Instagram is very happy with. Like, brilliant. It's
I,
seamless.
I truly love it when women creators come together. So this has happened more in the last 12 months, right? Since the lockdown and everything. Women creators, and especially fashion. So a lot of people have this like misconception that like fashion bloggers are competitive in nature and we're not,
Mhm.
friendly. And like we've been asked this before. And what has happened in the last 12 months is like all of us fashion beauty bloggers that have sort of, worked with the same brands and could be considered competitors have come together for so many videos. Those videos of like these like
pass the brush. Oh
yes,
my
Pass the
God.
brush. Yeah, that was one. Yeah.
challenges. And as cheesy as they might seem to somebody else, they were so much fun to create. And working with these powerhouse women, it was such an experience to like come make a group, create a WhatsApp group, and discuss with these women from all over the world, and discuss ideas, and then actually come together and create something. So I definitely get very inspired by my fellow creators, and I hate calling us competition or competitors. I think we're a part of the same community, which is what I say. And when it comes to role model, me, I'm going to be very honest. I don't think I'm a role model right now. At this current point, I do not think I'm a role model. I would not want to be considered a role model also right now, because I feel like I'm still learning. There's so much I need to learn. I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. I'm, a big part of my life that is portrayed on social media is because of it's my work and it's my career, and it might come across as perfect, but that's not true. So if somebody's looking at my work on Instagram and being like, she's my role model, that's what I want to be like, and I say this very openly, sometimes guys, this is my work. And it's not as, I know some things are seeming perfect over here, but that's not reality. And for that reason is what I started a mental health awareness page, because I have been through my own journey with that. And I just started that because I needed to be honest with my followers about, I'm not perfect. Like, I'm not happy all the time, and I'm not, super productive all the time. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Like, I don't want people to feel like they need to be in this constant pressure of like being productive and, having something to do every day. It's okay to take days off, and it's okay to take time off, and it's okay to not be perfect and productive all the time. So, I mean, I do talk about the imperfections as well, just so that people don't look at me as this, like, or creators as this perfect, pretty picture.
I mean, I was going to ask you about that, but it's wonderful that you brought it up yourself. But it must be pressure, right? I mean, sure, you have ways to deal with it, and I think it was Shreen who mentioned you were addicted at one point in time. And sometimes, I mean, some of these people are, I mean, some influencers are friends of mine, and I worry sometimes, honestly, given how much time they spend, and the validation cycle, right? The dopamine validation cycle is a little stressful, but do you still feel a lot of pressure in that regard, or have you found a sort of mechanism to deal with it, and you get your time off? How you guys kind of come to terms with that?
See, pressure is there. There is pressure, and there will be pressure, but some amount of pressure is good. So, like, like I say, there's distress, which is really like hectic, and then there's good stress.
Right.
It sort of motivates you into creating better work and doing more, just creating better stuff. So a little bit of stress and a little bit of pressure is good. Healthy competition is good. It kind of drives you in a way. Of course, I have just learned to recognize when it's leading into distress and when it's going into something that's uncomfortable and unproductive for me. I've learned to recognize that trigger or recognize that feeling and be like, you need to slow down. This is where you need to slow down. This is where you need to maybe take a day off and just sleep in if you have to. Like, I have this thing where I give myself permission slips so, for people who tend to like be overachievers, you just like, you don't allow yourself rest days, and you don't allow yourself to take a midday nap, for example. So you just write it down. And I journal a lot. So write down on a piece of paper, today I'm going to sleep in the middle of the day for 2 hours. Like, and luckily, because I work from home, I can do that. So I think I have figured out how to, bring in that balance. Pressure is there, and it will always be there, because it's such a public sort of community that we're working in. We are creating and putting our work out there, and we're seeing everybody else's work out there. So if there will be a point of comparison, but I think, if you start to realize that it's starting to go into a negative or uncomfortable zone, to just sort of step away and just see what you have. I mean, like, there was a survey done, and I don't know the numbers, but like half of Gen Z, or more than half of Gen Z, they aspire to be influencers. And I'm just glad that I'm there with my few 100,000 followers here. Like, I'm okay, like I might not want to reach millions, but I'm very happy with my community right now.
I think, it's interesting that you've kind of come out the other side so much wiser, it seems.
I feel, yeah. I definitely feel like, and I think you have to, right? You have to learn, but a lot of, when I speak about mental health and mental health awareness, mine didn't trigger because of social media. Mine was external factors. And for me, to be very honest, social media helped me. It helped me because it gave me a platform to express my opinions, and even to express my journey with mental health, right? Like, the amount of support I got it just made me feel so good. And it's not just the validation point there, right? Like, it's just, the support and the fact that, people came up and told me that I feel the same. Thank you for sharing. I feel the same. At least, like, now I don't feel alone. So for me, it was just a platform to express, and it actually helped my journey.
No, that's wonderful, and thank you for sharing. That's very interesting, and very, deeply lived wisdom that we got from you there. How about you, Nidhi? I mean, very, very different genre, very, very different pressures, very, very different perceptions. How have you dealt with the anxieties that come with being an influencer and a public personality?
Number one, therapy. I say that out loud and I'm not ashamed of it. And I think everyone should.
Normalize therapy, 100%.
Yeah. And I believe after the year that we've lived, it's imperative that everyone who thinks they need actually needs it. And so, yeah, that's definitely been. See, I'm in the yoga and the meditation space already. So I am supposedly somebody who should know always to keep myself calm, but that doesn't work. Uh,
Right.
been on the other side, and I know that even knowing all the tools. So, uh, I'm very spiritually connected, and I definitely feel very spiritually connected. I've been doing very deep practices for a couple of years now, but even after all of those tools, there are still days that I'm so overwhelmed with whatever's happening around me.
Mhm,
As
mhm,
Shirin said, somebody who's a hyper productive person, in my case also competitive. I always feel that there is, a train I'm missing out. Like I'm that Kareena Kapoor who's always thinking that meri train miss ho rahi hai. So for me, it's not comparing with somebody else, but it's always like missing out on something. So, huge FOMOs. But I'm also on the other extreme, a person who can actually cut off and, go completely offline. But I think also, given the fact that age is a factor in my case, I'm like relatively older than the Gen Z population. So for me, I think I've found a healthy balance, and it's there most days. I will not say 100%. It's there most days when I know when I need to pull the trigger off and, cut myself off. And there are days that I do feel the pressure of like creating content, but I feel that when I'm doing things out of that pressure, I'm not giving my best. Then I go back to the Nidhi in 2016 who used to post a picture when she liked it, not because
mhm,
she has to do it. It
mhm.
can be every 3 days, it's fine. It can be once a week, it's fine. Only when you're feeling like it, you should do it. And I think all creators at some point, I think Shireen would agree with me. There are so many things that you do because you want to do it. You put it out online and you don't get the dopamine back because people didn't accept it the way you thought.
Sure.
But,
Yeah.
but I'm s- and for there were times when I was very sad about it, and the words engagement and likes and things were important to me. But I think I've made peace with it because I've been on the platform for a very long time. So now I create things for myself first, and then I do it because again, I chose this path for me because I wanted it. So now I'm in that space where I can put myself and my feelings and what's happening with me first. And again, I'm always very transparent on what's going on in my life. So if I'm under stress and I'm not looking my best or I'm not physically my best, I have always shared it with my audience and been transparent about it because hello, we've been on the platform for years. You can't expect
Right.
somebody to be perfect. And in my case, there's also this huge pressure to look apart.
Mhm, mhm,
If I'm mentally going through something, I'm not able to exercise for a long time, or I am not 100% in terms of my health. Suddenly the question comes, okay, you teach about health, but you're not perfect. Look at you, this is not happening. So I've come to peace with being transparent about all of these things because, again, I've been on the platform for years and I might be for the next couple of decades. So I can't lie about it. And the idea
right.
of perfection is something that I have given up on. I am not perfect. I come with certain imperfections, insecurities. I am a human. Treat me like one, and I portray myself like one. I think that is the biggest relief. The moment
Right.
I stop being perfect and I stop portraying myself as, hello, I am the perfection, I think that's a huge thing. And of course, all the things that one needs to go through: mental health,
Right. Right.
journaling, meditation, calming yourself, spending time with nature, spending time with pets. Obviously, all those things are priority, but I think I completely had. So, for my personal journey, I'd say I was married to perfection.
Mhm,
I married perfection before I was even my own. I was so I took so much of pressure on being the perfect at everything. A grades all the time, you know,
mhm,
if I'm a fitness trainer, you would always see me in ace health all the time, and I would be. But over years, I've come to peace with it's okay. Even if you're not 100%, it's fine. So yeah, I think over years we've learned it. I think we all learn it the hard way. And just being real with who you are, sometimes that just takes the pressure off. And your audience who's
That's
loyal will stick around and they will relate to it because everyone has this almost the same journey at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if Deepika Padukone can confess to having struggled with mental health, I mean, all of us are mortal after that, right? Aren't we? But I mean, I just felt like a huge waft of wisdom come towards me from my laptop screen. Thank you both for sharing about those struggles and those journeys as well, because I think it's a super important aspect of not just an influencer's life, but also of everybody else's life on social media as well, right? It's one of those seedy underbellies that often doesn't get talked about, but I'm glad that we have enough and more champions of mental health now to make it a real thing that people can seek help for and get help for and then come out looking stronger. I will take another hard left, but this time towards a more fun part. Let's play a small game. I've never done one of these ever before, but I felt like we should. I'll throw a few quick questions at you. Again, I promise I have never done this before, right? I mean, the way we planned it wasn't even going to be a game, but I just thought something we'll try. So I'm going to ask you like three questions. Just three very simple questions. Both of you give me whatever comes to your mind. I don't know how we're going to do it, so whoever starts talking first goes first. First things first. Okay. It's a fun game, so fun, right? I want you to tell me about three other creators that you look up to.
I would say Tanya Kanijo,
Mm-hmm.
because being a girl solo traveler throughout the world, I mean her travel vlogs and pictures. Okay, I think I've learned a lot of photography from her, just looking at her, not even being. And I recently collaborated with her like a week back, and yeah, I was telling her how much I learned from her. So yeah, one creator that I really look forward to.
I can
Be-
see Shirin looking at her phone, being like, "Who do I follow?"
and I think I have two more creators in mind, so I'm ready.
Yes, Nidhi. Go for it.
Alicia D'Souza.
Right, of course.
I have huge respect for the consistency that girl has, because every morning the first post that I see is hers. It's always positive, puts a smile on my face. And no matter what she went through in like her personal life throughout the pregnancy, having the kid, every day there was a post. And it's beautiful, it's cute, it's always happy, and she's such a happy vibe even to meet and be around. Um, okay, and a third one. I think Radhika Namlas. I might be biased against travel creators because their pictures are like nicer to look at.
Right, right,
And I relate to them more because I also love traveling. Again,
right.
since I know that girl personally, huge respect for traveling solo, especially in India and very difficult countries, which I don't think in our typical Indian society a lot of girls would do. Yeah, and again, the way she puts out her content and her photography, I think subconsciously I've learned so much from her also. I did not know you could use a telephoto lens like the way she does. So that investment of a telephoto lens is onto her.
It's
So
beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Shirin, after you've done your
I
revisions.
did not. There's just some random stuff on my feed right now. I couldn't figure it out. No, but okay, it gave me some time to think, right? There's a lot of, like, again, for me, it'll be more fashion and art and more photography based. There's an international creator called Q Mike. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he is just worth looking at. His feed is an absolute delight to look at. It's just because of I get a lot of inspiration. I draw a lot of inspiration from the way he curates his content. It's picture composition, it's photography, and I think it's borderline into surrealism, his photography technique and his art technique, and he himself like is in the pictures and stuff, so he's really good. I do in Indian creators, I'm trying to think. I think Masoom Meenawala is doing a great job. I think she's doing some really, really good work, only because of her campaign of supporting Indian designers and throwing more light on Indian designers, which I think is amazing. Um, and I think somebody who when it comes to like political views and stuff, I do learn a lot from Jamila. I don't know if you guys follow her. She's somebody that I get a lot of my information from, and my like just listening to her opinions and reading even her comment section, in fact. Just get a lot of knowledge from there, sometimes some information from there. So yeah, 3 ho gaya. Yeah. And then,
Beautiful. Well done.
can I just be honest? There's a lot. My top followed accounts are all pugs and dogs. Okay, so that is my go-to is pugs of Instagram, dogs of Instagram. So yeah, that is also. I'm just gonna throw that in there.
Oh shit! That reminds me. There is Handsome
I guess
Malik
that's the same
is
for me.
the dog
Sorry.
to follow. Man, it's a Chow Chow. Hi, Handsome 08. It's Arman Malik's dog. Insanely cute, man. Beautiful. Sorry, some just random sidebar image popped into my head. Nidhi was it.
Oh, I'm saying that, yeah, even my explore feed is full of like baby videos and dog videos, because that's my therapy, by the way.
And it's as good as therapy as can be. Second question is give me your top one. How is this still a thing? Sexism in 2021 thing. Like the one thing that the kind of sort of weirdly sexist thing that just blows your mind. You're like, how is this still a problem?
You want to go, Nidhi?
I mean, I have an instance that I can share, and
Sure.
kind of. So there is a fellow women creator who had posted a reel with her driving, and it was just like she's driving on the hills, and she said, "Oh, yeah, I love driving, and I love driving on hills." And the comment section was mind blowing. It was like,
I can imagine.
coming from real men drive a stick shift to women can't drive. And I was like, hang on a second, guys. Like, how is it a thing in 2021? Like, why do we still have this perception that women can't drive, or they can't be as good as a driver as men are? Because, and that probably will be my post for Women's Day as well, because I believe that cognitive skills require a brain, a functioning motor system, and limbs that work, and that's about it. Right? It's not a man or a woman thing. And how in 2021 we're talking about, because when you go out on highways these days, at least in this part of the country, it's pretty normal to see a lot of women driving on highways.
Of course.
And yeah, I mean, on a creator who doesn't even stay in India, she came to India and she's driving, and then the comment section is like full. And I legit, sometimes it just triggers me in a certain way. And I legit like read all the comments and replied back to all the people who had given negative comments. And then I was hearing back, of course. But I mean, I was like, what? What? Hello, excuse me, what year is it again?
Ridiculous. Good contender. Well pulled out. Shireen?
So, I mean, even I'm going to give up a personal sort of instance only, which happened the most recent ones, because there have probably been many moments like that when I'm like, we're in 2021, guys. So I was doing a live, very recent, I think last week or something. And, somebody on my feed, and it was a guy only who popped up and said, why do you need to wear makeup? If you're doing a live, you're probably ugly then. So, I mean, we get some of these, but I mean, wearing makeup or not wearing makeup, I mean, that is like feminism 101. Like, you choose to wear makeup or not wear makeup. Like, that is my choice. That is, or even like other, like this, when women talk, or when like older women talk about young girls who are itna makeup laga ke college jati hai, or subah subah itna makeup laga ke aati hai. I don't think that is a conversational topic. Like, that's not a point of conversation anymore. It is a choice. And that is exactly what Women's Day is about. That's exactly what feminism is about. That's exactly what the theme of this 2021 Cup, that the theme is, I think, choose to challenge, right? This year ka theme. It's a choice, right? It's a choice to want to wear makeup or not want to wear makeup. Choice to either, shave or not to shave, or, whatever, dress a certain way, not dress a certain way. And I think that's something that we need to like talk about more, that the fact that it's not feminism does not mean you have to be confident without makeup, and you have to be okay not shaving your arms. You have to we need to normalize the fact that it's our choice and we can choose whatever we want. But yeah, I mean,
That's very well put. Supremely well put, actually. Last question then. Your one way or one top way for someone who's looking to be an ally, to be a better ally.
Listen. I think listening is a very underrated word. I feel listening without judgment, listening without being dismissive, um, is something that we need to throw light on a lot more. Just whether it's women or whether it's anyone across any gender is talking and is expressing an opinion, whether it's good, bad, do not be dismissive of it. I think there's a lot of power in just listening. That's one thing for me.
Maybe?
For me, it's like dropping judgment. And this is something that I believe that I'm constantly working on. And I think one of those things that you never arrive at, you do like now I've become conscious of it. I do realize that how much of our upbringing is all about subconsciously teaching us judgment, where we put people in boxes and we define this is this and this is that. And for me, every day the idea is to just and this is something that I've written on my mirror also, drop judgment for everything. So yeah, I think the only way that we can be better together is that we just come from a space of empathy and 100% acceptance. Like, come as you are. You don't have to be pretentious of who you are and who you're not. And I think if we start at that space, then every co-creation is beautiful.
Brilliantly well put, man.
I'm just
so much. Oh, sorry, go on.
Just add to the ally point. I think here I'm gonna shamelessly give a shout out to my husband, who's just been such a fab like ally to me. And I think another thing that we need to sort of normalize is just couples or any like across genders just sharing household responsibilities or parental responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's like, I'm terrible at managing a house. Like, I'm going to be really honest. Like, I love my work and I'm good at my work, but managing a house is not my scene. And that's something that he takes responsibility for, whether it's, sometimes the vegetables or whatever. And I think that just these things that, we might not notice every day, this is kind of what's empowering us and what's, taking us in the right direction.
No, I completely agree. People should partake in more housework, because when you're doing housework, your hands are busy, but your mind is free. So you can listen to this podcast.
Ooh, la la, sneaking in.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. But I could not agree more. As someone who has spent more than a year doing dishes, which is one more year doing dishes than ever in my life before. It is therapeutic. It is important to do. And it really kind of weirdly brings you closer to the people that you live with. You get to see so much dignity in everything that's around your house, man. Definitely do more housework, guys, all of you, right? And come and do some in my house as well if you like. It was brilliant having you both here, man. Before I let you go, quick shout outs to Shireen Lovebug on Instagram. Please follow her if you want flawless skin and also some awesome tips on how to be a great balanced influencer. And Nidhi Mohan Kamal at Nidhi Mohan Kamal on Instagram for fitness and all-round wisdom. I'm going to make sure that I follow you guys, because I want both great skin. Actually, all three things: great skin, fitness, and wisdom. So I will make sure I do that. It was wonderful to have you guys here. I hope you guys had fun.
I had a lot of fun. I don't know if I rambled. Even if I did, it was fun. I enjoyed my ramble.
No, I mean, there's pearls of wisdom in your ramble, so please keep rambling. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks
so
a
much.
lot. And I don't even know how long we kept on. Like, I have not been keeping a track of time, but I think it's been a while that we were chatting, and it just flew.
That's always a good thing. I think we're near about our 10-minute mark, if I'm not mistaken, hour 5, hour 10, somewhere there, which is not bad at all. And for a conversation that covered the breadth of what we did, I think we did fairly well, if I may say so myself. That's it on this episode of Storytellers and Storysellers. This is Vineet Kanabar saying goodbye.